Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Atomic Cast. It's Tom here today, and I'm joined by my friend Zahir from Zahir Cares Designs.
Hello.
Hello. Cool. So Zahir, if you want them, makes loads of cool terrain and stuff. You can check them out on Instagram and stuff. Zahir Cares Designs. Go over and check that stuff out. It's cool. We use it at lots of our tables. That's about it, really. Am I saying your surname wrong? Is that why you're looking at me in disgust?
Oh no, I wasn't. I just
Okay.
generally that's just my general look when I'm looking at you, mate.
Fair enough. We'll chuck it in the description down below if you want to see it. So it makes it nice and easy for you to get there. But yeah, cool. So what we're here today to talk about is there's been 4 tournaments since we last properly chatted to you that we've played in. So last weekend was the Worcester War Games tournaments, which we went to. Zahir didn't actually come to those ones, but
No.
myself, Lee, Curtis, Ross, all who pop on his channel, Jamie, all who pop up on his channel quite a lot. Leon, who you've seen before, was hosting the event, and then a lot of the rest of our Swindon crew, including the guys from SW Miniatures, so Scott and Rob and everyone, they were all up there as well. So we had like it's like one of our biggest local events.
Yeah, I'm really gutted.
Pardon?
I'm really gutted I missed out. I was getting major FOMO just seeing all of you guys going, oh yeah, we're playing this, we're doing
I think
this.
we were like 10, 12 people deep.
Yeah.
It was pretty it was pretty good. So it was 700 points was the Saturday, and that was a GBHL 80. We'll kind of whistle stop through this one. So for me, it didn't go terribly well. I actually went 1 and 3 over the event, just by whistle stopping through it. I was using my Goblin Town Spider Queen list. I've not used it at 700 before. Used it a fair bit at 600, not at 700.
Yeah.
I don't think it wasn't optimized for this. It was made for the Borrowed Door event, where it's 500 points and then you jump up to 700. So if I was making it again for 700, I probably wouldn't have as many bats and things in there. I'd have more goblins and stuff, but because I had to make a 200-point block to drop in, I'd done that with the Spider Queen and Goblin. And then I played against a couple of really strong opponents with big elf lords and things, which Goblin Town and Spiders just absolutely hate. Basically,
It was just chomp through you, don't they?
Yeah, just smash straight through me. And in general, it was a big kind of like, ooh, okay, I need to work out how to deal with those better, because that hurt.
It's when you don't know what you're playing against well. Do you know what I mean? When you don't face it a lot, it can really throw you for one, can't it?
But massive congratulations to Lee, who isn't here tonight because he's looking after his baby, but he came first in that event, and Scott Warren off of SW Miniatures came third. So if you want to, they did a recap covering all of their successes fully over on the SW Miniatures channel. So head on over to there, go and look at how well they did, and then come back and we'll talk about the rest of it, because we're just going to move on straight on from that one. To be fair, we did learn quite a few things from that not going to plan, and it's always good to talk about those. So one of the things that me and Lee and Nat have picked up on when we talked about it afterwards, I think that personally, I actually struggle to go into like full competitive mode at these local events. I almost need to go away where I'm not with all my friends, because when I'm with all my friends, I just want to play around and have fun. Whereas when we go away, I think it's a little bit more serious, and we'll talk about that later.
I was going to say, I think we both had experiences of that this weekend, didn't we?
Yeah. So it's quite good. Yeah, that's just one of the things I picked up on. I made some mistakes in some of our games that was probably because I wasn't fully focusing, because I was busy like chatting to my friends and stuff, because most of the people I played that event are people that I knew quite well as well. So it was just a little bit of messing around. So that's a good kind of talking point that we picked up on. And the other thing is that we played against the 3 armies I lost to over that event were armies that I have not really played before. So it was a full-on Frandil's Halls with Big Papa Frandy, Leggy, Palace Guard, that kind of stuff. none of which I've really encountered properly before. Lee's dabbled in
And
friend
that-
drill, but
And that
not-
list is optimized for killing elves, isn't it? It's like the perfect like combination of +1 to wound, and you've still got the fight value, and you can possibly go higher than
strength
anyone.
Phoebos, rinse goblins, Frandy and Leggy, just to have a great time against the any of the beasties, the Spider Queens and the Goblin King and things are all terrified of it. So that wasn't fun. A Rivendell Ministerialist piloted by Ross, who I think Ross came 5th, I think, at this one. So again, like big up to Ross. So Glorfindel again, just rinsing through my stuff. That kind of thing. So it's just a good like thing. Make sure you know exactly what you're up against and things when you're playing against new stuff.
The thing is, it's really hard because people play a lot of similar lists all the time, and then there's just one person who will take a really random list which is actually really well optimized, and it will just throw you for 6, won't it?
I mean, the one army I beat at that event was dwarfs. So,
you have plenty of experience.
It wasn't these dwarfs, it was Curtis's dwarfs. But all I do is play against dwarfs, so I'm very well acquainted with how to get the best out of killing them. But the second day was not a GBH event. It was just a kind of for fun one. It was at 550 points. So I brought a couple of armies that I've not really used before in the with the idea of kind of testing some new stuff out, seeing how it worked, just messing around a little bit. So I brought the new Mirkwood Rangers Legend Legion and Army of Gothmog. Because I've not used Mordor ever.
Army of Gothmog is like the first army I took to Borodor last year.
Is it
for my first ever event? And it was just a good, well-rounded list, wasn't it? Because
I mean, Gothmog, Gothmog, Zagdush, and Guritz. A drummer, and then just as many orcs as I could. Rannons. And then Leggy, Tariel, 22 Rangers and 2 Sentinels. Ooh, sorry. That did a lot better. That went 3-1.
Nice.
Played with the Rangers for 3 games and the Rannons for 1. The Rangers, we won on, what was the first game? To the death against Black Riders on a table with lots of terrain. So I hid on rooftops and things and shot the poor Black Riders, and it was pretty brutal. He didn't have any horses left after turn 1.
Oh wow.
Beautiful Black Riders also. Really nice bases where he'd set each one after a different scene in the films. So he had like a little Buckleberry Ferry base, and he had one where he'd like cut the heads off the hobbits and had them like hiding under these tree roots and stuff. That was really cool. And then I killed all the horses, and he hadn't done that for the bases of dismount, so I felt really sad. And then game 2.
You're not meant to kill his horses, that's the thing.
Pardon?
I said you're not meant to kill the horses, that's the whole point.
Oh, all right. I mean, it was my entire aim was just drop all the horse of them, but game 2 was against Luke from Worcester. He's another lad we've played a few times. He's very good. He often podiums at all of our Worcester events. He was using the Goblin Town as Spider Queen.
Oh no.
At 555, which is a much better points limit for them. I got excited because I was like, oh sweet, Mirkwood Rangers love Goblin Town, and then it was breakthrough, and I went, damn it. Basically, because I tried to hang back, but he just Spider Queen broodlings and shut off my shooting. Not much I could do then. Game 3 was Lurtz Scouts, Uglax Scouts, sorry. On Storm the Camp. They didn't really make it to combat.
D4, D5, just ping, ping, ping.
I had 24, 25, 28 bow shots a turn. Against D5, so needing 5s.
So
there was a
third
really
edition-
nice hill next to my camp,
Yeah.
but I used the first turn of him moving to put myself on the hill as well. So he
Yeah.
ran, but it wasn't a hill, it was a cliff.
Oh,
So he
God.
like came
Yeah,
at
oh.
me. I put the heroes on the bottom,
Yeah.
and then he just came into Legolas and Tariel while all the Rangers shot down onto his spears from his orcs and stuff.
Yeah.
That was, I think it was
Oh.
25 minutes, that game.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, Charles. Happens. And then game 4 was against Sharku's Wargs. But
Okay.
I hadn't used my evil yet, so I used my evil. Because the tournament format was if they only had one army, you could choose which army you used. So I thought I might as well use my Rannans.
I like
it was
that.
on.
Sometimes you get punished for taking 2 armies, don't you, when someone's got one? And it's like kind of unfair.
It was on the capture and control, where you can
Yeah.
kind of deploy right in the center as well.
Yeah.
So I also kind of thought, Mirkwood Rangers are just gonna kind of not do that well. So it was quite a cagey game. I think we only killed about 5 models each the entire game. He basically span around the wheel.
Yeah.
And I was kind of holding an L shape like this and moving around the wheel as he spun around with his wargs, because he was scared of getting too close, because Gothmog would just rinse through him.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have strike in that list. And I deliberately bought 2 strikers with me, and Guritz, who's just a bit of a beast himself.
Yeah.
But then it came down. There was some really nice little like heroic combat combos at the end to get me to clear him off his last objective and drop Sharku all in one turn.
Nice.
Which really swung the game. But
it
was like the last time had been called, and then I was there like, cool, right? So I can do this, and I will win this.
Good game.
And it was a bit like, ooh, that's it was very tight, but it was good. I liked that because I haven't had a feeling like that in a while, where it was, if I did that little perfect combination of that and that all work together.
Yeah.
It was nice to try something.
When you get that, you plan it, and that your opponent does what they're meant to do in your plan. And it's like, boom.
I believe Scott from SW won that one. The 550 one on the Sunday.
Was he playing a similar list to what he played at your tournament?
Yeah, the Shadow Lord and Spider Queen, that one. Yeah. He won that one. I can't remember the rest, but Luke was on the podium.
And Curtis.
Curtis was on the podium. Yeah, of course he was. Curtis was with his dwarfs. Yeah. Yes.
I thought Curtis won. I'm not sure.
No, Curtis came second.
Oh, okay.
I think, and Scott won. Curtis came second, and Luke came third, I think.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
But
you must have been up there as well, mustn't you?
I was 5th.
Yeah.
Curtis was second on VP diff. They were both 4-0.
Okay.
But that was Worcester. Again, if you want to see a more like detailed breakdown, head over to SW Miniatures. Scott and Lee went through it a couple of days ago, so you can have a look on there and listen to them talking about their wins and things. We just kind of skipped over that one a little bit because we then went down to London this weekend for the juicy stuff. I like coming down to London. I've had a good time in London.
It's your stomping ground, isn't it?
London is my favorite place to come. I don't know. I just like coming and hanging out. I like everyone down in London. Everyone's nice. It's where I got my first win, so it feels a bit like, ooh, yeah, lucky London. Apart from the LWG, but don't talk about that. So Saturday, I can't believe it's not Borodor. Do you want to explain why?
Because Sunday was called Borodor, and we had oversubscribed. Well, we had a waiting list that was double the length of the amount of spaces. So they decided to make another one, and Curtis's genius was I can't believe it's not Borodor, which was just stroke of genius, I think. And then, of course, it didn't sell out, so we got to get a second day's worth of gaming in, which was good fun.
Yeah. So Sunday was the original one, which is Borodor. GBHL 80. And then, like I said, London, it's the London Wargaming Guild, because you referred to yourselves as we just then. London Wargaming Guilds.
Yes.
If anyone doesn't know, look them up. Plug
Yeah,
yourself.
if you're in
always.
London, please get in touch because we've got a meet up and get lots of games. We've got a slow grow going on at the moment, and then the Battle Company's starting month after next, I think.
Nice.
So get involved. It's a nice friendly.
And you've got your own kind of like little tournaments you do internally as well, don't you?
Yeah, just sort of, a bit more fun, bit more relaxed.
Nice.
Unless you're me, then you go and you play a sweaty list and you win.
Have you got to use those local ones to kind of practice, haven't you? That's to try new things out, or just bring ballistas all the time.
But
so Saturday, can't believe it's not Bordeaux. 400 points.
It was a nice sweet spot of a list where do you go Hordy or do you go heavy hitter?
So Curtis was organising this one. He'd because he wanted to do as little as possible on the day to make it easy for himself. He had already posted the tournament scenarios. That's the word I'm looking for. The scenarios up on the event pack. Yes, scenarios are up on the event pack. So we had a look through them. If you want to see like a big preview to that, we did that last week. We talked about the scenarios. We talked about the different lists that were going. But I took Army of Laketown. So I took Bard on Horse, Master and Alfred, and then 30 dudes. 10 with bows, 10 with spears, 10 with swords. Actually had 15 with spears because I had 5 with bows and spears.
Yeah.
But you get a gist.
I was on the opposite side because it was a 50-50 split, wasn't it? So it was good versus evil.
Yes.
But we each only bought one army. And I was on the other side taking Azog's Hunters and Legion, together. So I had Thimble and Nazog and a Goblin Merc Captain with a few Warg Riders, a couple of Wargs, and mostly Goblin Mercs and Hunter Orcs. So
we both went fairly Hordy.
Which was not the case for most of the good side, actually. I think most of the good side went one big hero and then a good quality over quantity of troops. And I think that's what swung the day, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think so. So we were keeping track throughout the day of the good versus evil win count as well. So good won the entire event. Just by a landslide. By a landslide, we won the first 2 rounds. Evil won the third.
So we got a bonus for each one, didn't we? So really.
So it did feel a bit like it snowballed. But then the third one was something retrieval.
It was retrieval,
Retrieval, which the evil side won.
Yeah, we won that one.
So game 1, I was playing against Ashley and his Urukai. It's a standard Isengard list at low points: Lurtz, Vrasku, a few crossbows, a couple of berserkers, and then just sword and shield lads with a couple of pikes. The scenario was capture and control, so deployed right in the middle and then fought for the position. Basically, he deployed Vrasku's warband first, deployed Vrasku at the back on the back objective and his crossbows there. And I went, yes. So I put all of my lads on the front, Bard up there as well, put a couple of guys out to look like they went to either side. So when he put Lurtz's warband down in, he also put a couple of guys down to the side. So he only had Lurtz and a few guys in the middle. Basically, he took the bait. And then a couple of turns of me outnumbering him 2 or 3 to 1, plus Bard doing heroic combat through troops, meant that he had nothing left in the middle pretty quickly. It did escalate quite quickly. To be fair, if it ended on the very first roll that it could have ended, he would have actually won, I think, because he had a berserker that won a fight while two-handing against, I think it was 10 guys, so 5 and then 5 spears, with a banner. The berserker won and dropped all of them It was the best berserker I think I've ever seen in my life.
That's insane.
I've never seen that two-handed whirl thing come off properly, and he was just doing
Yeah.
it because he was like, oh, I've lost it, spoil, let's just do it for fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually came off and killed an awful lot of troops and panicked quite a bit.
Brilliant.
That
Love
was
it.
right on the centre objective. So he then
Yeah.
took the centre objective off me, and he had his home one, and he had one of the sides, which I took off him the next turn with Bard. So it was very like, yeah, from after that, then it became a 12-0 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Which meant I got maximum points in the tournament scoring system, because it was kind of, if you drew, you got 10 each. And then if I won 1-0, it would be 11 to me and 9 to you. And then if it was 15, if it was 5-0, it would be 15 and 5 and so on.
Yeah.
How did your first game go?
It's a very London thing, that, isn't it? I mean, I'm still trying to get my head around it, but it's a confusing thing to get around. My first game was against Tom, a different Tom to you, and his hobbits.
Harry.
He had Halbrad, who was his leader, and then he had a couple of Paladin Took, and then he had 2 other hobbit heroes.
He had the sheriff heroes.
Yeah, that made him Burley, and the one that gave
+1 to Maelstrom.
It was the ambush ones, yeah, the ambush one, which wasn't any like use for this scenario. And I just basically, what I did was I just overcommitted to one side. I just thought, I'm going to take out Halbrad first. I'm going to go and take out half his war bands first, because he sort of deployed one to the right, one to the left, and then his hobbit archers at the back, defending his home objective. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go down to the shooting. So I'm just gonna hide to one side away from all the archers. And I just sent a few like hunter orcs over to that side to just sort of be a nuisance. And I just sort of wrecked Halbrad in a strike off with Fimbul on the charge. And I just I just managed to whittle down his numbers quite a bit on the right flank, secured that, and then went round and attacked the Hobbit archers on the back objective with Fimbul on a heroic combat. I deployed my Goblin Mercs in the centre because he was coming over with like a massive wave of 20 odd hobbits. And I was like, okay, I need to, instead of popping up on the back, which was what I was going to do, I just put it in the middle, because I was like, he won't expect that. It will just make him think again. And those goblins did not want to die. They just held up the centre, and I just managed to get round. And I think I won 10-0. I think I just lost one objective and did everything else.
So it sounds a bit like our opponents both did the same thing, which I have seen some people do in a scenario where they spread out to try and hold all of them for the entire game.
Yeah.
But it's a 90-minute game, and you only need to have them at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So I tend to ball up and smash, if you spread out and have here and here and here, or I'm going to put all my forces here, take this, take that, and then come for this.
Yeah.
And by the time you've moved them across, I've already killed half your army.
Yeah. And I had 2 inches on everything, and then I had 6 inches with my cav. And it's just they could just go munching, call heroics and just keep munching through. They're killing 4 hobbits a turn, 5 hobbits a turn. It was just nice and easy.
I think I dropped 4 berserkers in one turn with Bard. It was lovely.
With his shooting or just heroics?
Heroic combats.
Nice.
It's into 2, bounced off into 2.
He was a bit wrecking ball this weekend, wasn't he?
He really was. A lot of people said at 400 points he was too expensive, including myself. But boy, did he prove me wrong.
He was. Yeah. I think the thing was, a lot of the evil side had just gone full horde, not a massive hitter. So you could just go through the troops, because we wouldn't put our heroes up against Bard because we know we'd lose.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Lurtz was using his might to do. Again, he's using his might to do heroic moves, which I understand why, because he wanted to shut off Bard's heroic moviness.
Yeah.
But when I had Bard's got as much might as Lurtz anyway, plus Alfred's giving him might, plus the master doing his banner and things, I've got so much might, you can't just give it away.
Yeah, and you're keeping up with the fight value of Uruks, which are like double the price of your base models. It's just like
it was quite painful only winning on 6s.
Yeah.
However, because he was so spread out, most of the time I was getting traps off.
Yeah.
And I did what I've learned to do at Golden Town, which is I'll have this side of the line will be quite thin.
Yeah.
And then this side will be trapped.
Yeah.
And I'll kill him, and then next time I'll come across and kill the rest of them.
Yeah.
And I might lose 1 or 2 guys on that side, but you'll lose half your side.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So game 1 we both won, and both by getting maximum tournament points.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was happened?
Game 2. Guess who it is?
Clutch match of the century.
We haven't actually played before.
No, we've just had a rivalry going on for about half a year.
Scenario was hold ground.
Yeah.
So instantly, I personally looked and went, "Ooh, you like this?" As Hunter Orcs, especially your mercs in there. Big Maelstrom deployment.
Yeah.
Opening roll. I think I even did it at the table. And I just went, yes, when I lost the Maelstrom. I was like, yes, I'm coming second.
I had priority, didn't I? Yeah.
You came in kind of on 2
I came in from the eastern
like
board edge. Yeah, eastern board edge with Thimble and the northern board edge with Narzug. Kept my Goblin Mercs. Like, basically, I played my game exactly the way I wanted to. Your first Maelstrom roll was bad.
It put you right in behind Narzug's warband with Alfred's, which is a bit like,
I thought, okay, this is the way I want to play this. I want to isolate Alfred from the master, put you, 3 separate, because like my only plan with your army was spread you out as much as possible, get you away from each other, which is what your army needs, is all of those bonuses just going together. And then what did you do?
Well, all the rest of my warbands came on the exact same place, mate.
Exactly.
We
so you had a U-shape.
Finessed the rolling. Yeah. I was able to bring kind of Bard on this side, Master kind of tucked in the corner here, Warriors around the side. All the bows only moved 3 inches on, right next to your bows, obviously. But it meant that first kind of little round of shooting, it's fine. You hit on 5s. I hit on, well, we both hit on 5s. But I just had so many bows, plus big bad Bard.
I don't think you actually did much damage though, did you, with shooting?
I took a fate off Narzug.
Yes. Yeah.
And a couple I dropped a couple of Hunter Orcs, but
but I mean, like, as in terms of how bad it could have been.
Oh, it could have been worse. Yeah, it's because I had to move and stuff.
I was quite happy with how it had happened, but like I think I shot first, didn't I? And I was like, so I just used all of my might in one go to take a wound off Bard. Did I do it? No. And then guess what happened
to Narzug? He died. Basically the next turn just went terribly for you. I just kind of surrounded and killed as much as I could. And once, because I just wanted to drop that kind of warband down as quickly as possible. There were a couple of stubborn Hunter Orcs who just refused to die. What I didn't do was I didn't call any heroic combat with Bard, because he still only had his basic might. But he was on this side, and the Master and Alfred were on this side. So they were about, if I'd called it and gotten across, because what you did is you saw that and brought Thimble in down on the Master.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, Thimble decided he couldn't be bothered.
No. He rolled 3 high with 2 points on my left, and just went, I can't be bothered to win this.
So then the next turn we kind of surrounded Thimble with Warriors. He also failed to win that combat. We failed to kill him though. 3. So we didn't kill him though.
No, not that turn.
No, not that turn.
They were quite stubborn actually to die, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think like my Hunter Orcs lost a lot, but they didn't die for longer than I hoped. So I was happy with that. And
then as time started to wind down, eventually Thimble got ganked just by Warriors, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. You got the Master out. Bard came over and did his thing, didn't he?
Did Bardy things, yeah.
And I popped my mercs on, just at the right time.
Yeah.
And I broke. And what happened? I rolled a 5. So the game won.
Yeah.
Well, many
If
more
you'd rolled that
times.
1 or 2, game would have ended. You know
Yeah,
what?
and it probably would have been like a, I don't know, probably about like a 7-something win, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because we hadn't done anything to our leaders. It might have been closer to a draw, actually, I think.
I think no, because I killed Fimble at that point.
Yeah, and you'd
I'd killed Fimble and broken you.
Yeah.
So that would have been 5 and you'd have got 7%.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then yeah, Bard. Alfred stole a Bard's might and then combated Bard through.
Yes.
Love it. And just launched Bard into the centre and chaos kind of ensued.
And goblins are only meant to be there to sit on the objective. That is it.
Yes.
And they died.
They died pretty hard and fast, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think I still had about 20 odd models on the table at this point.
Well,
we just kind of
only lost like 5 overall the whole game.
It went quite well.
Yeah.
And then we just flooded through and took it. So it ended up being a fairly resounding win. I think it was another, did it end up being 12-0?
Yeah.
So another maximum tournament points for me. But kind of dropped you back down to
down to the bottom. No, it's not, mate. You know what? It was good. It helped you on your way to greatness.
Yes. Game 3 then was Retrieval.
Yeah.
I was playing at Sam Palmer and his Angmar army, which you talked about on the video before when we looked at the preview. So it was the Witch King on horse, 2 might, 10 will, 3 fate, and a crown, a whole load of orcs, Birder, and a Barrow White. So he only actually had like 15, 16 models.
Yeah.
I looked at it and went, I'm just going to shoot you to death. And he looked at it and went, I don't want you to shoot me. So I deployed fairly aggressively.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, you know, if we get a fight here, this is going to be all right. He deployed in cover. I sent a little warband up to go and take the thing. He moved everything over to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran back to my little cover over here. And then he came back into cover over here. Then he brought some guys down there. So I swung my army around to cover it. And then he went back. It was just a bit of like, well, you know, no one was kind of...
Just cat and mouse the whole time.
It's one of my only kind of bugbears with this tournament scoring system.
Yeah.
In that, so I now know that I'm on a 40 out of 40 points, right? So if I draw this game, I'm on 50 out of a possible 60.
Yeah.
Which is still really high.
Yeah.
So I was quite happy taking a draw. And I think he was also fairly happy taking a draw.
Yeah.
So to be fair, neither of us really wanted to lose. So it just kind of ended up being a cat and mouse game that didn't really go anywhere. Which is fine. It's one of the issues with a scenario like Retrieval. It can just, if no one's willing to commit, it can just lead to a draw. Basically, the one thing I hate dealing with Lake Town is magic that can turn off the Master and Bard and people like that. And they're only courage 2. So the Terror with Harbinger meant I'm on courage 1. So I don't really want to be charging in there.
No.
So I didn't. Ended in a 0-0 draw. But it's all right. 50 out of possible 60 points going towards the final game. Fairly happy. How did yours get on?
I was playing against Helm's Legion, which was scary. It was only 16 models and 1 warband, but I was scared of Helm. Like, I was really just scared he would just tear me to shreds. So I actually did something I really do not like doing, which is played really conservatively. I was sat back on my objective actually, and I was like, "Hey, you got to come to me because I'm not going to you. I'm not playing this on your terms. I've got my Goblin Mercs that can just pop up, so I need you to come away from there. You've only got 16 models." I think he had like a couple of Royal Guard on horse, maybe 1 rider with a banner, and then all the rest were foot. so he had like a front line of Royal Guard and then a back line of normal shield and throwing spear Rohan warriors. And I think in the end I was just like, I'm not moving. And then my opponent got bored, so he was like, okay, I'm coming. He left his 2 Royal Guard on horseback and 2 Outriders on the back objective and just sent everything else forward. I was shooting mostly at Helm, trying to get his horse out. Nothing happened. Every single hit him. I think Narzug took a wound off him, which he fated because he knew with the Morgul arrows he could just die or take a wound. So that happened, and then I think he got in, and eventually he just started chopping through things with Helm. I sent Thimble in, just like because I thought I need to take him out. Struck up, and I went up to fight 10. He only went up to fight 7. I had him surrounded with Narzug, Thimble. I think I want to say about 3 more Hunter Orcs. So I just had like all the attacks on him, and I just took him down in 1 turn. It was not pretty, but killed him. So I knew I had that. Now, if neither of us touched the objective, it was fine. In the end, I got a bit bored, so I just put my Goblin Mercs on. The way the scenery was set out, I couldn't put them on a scenery piece because there was no scenery piece that could fit them all. So I had to come in from the back, just swept in and took it. Last turn, I managed to get it, and I think I heroic combated with my Goblin Merc captain. Got it to Thimble because Thimble was coming around the flank. I think 1 more turn and I probably would have got it off the board for 12-0, but I think I won 7-0 or 8-0, so it was a decent win. But yeah, again, a lot of waiting around and sort of manoeuvring to start with.
Yeah, that's retrieval. So sorry for. I'm chilling out on table 2. So my decision to play for a draw was quite like, yeah, I'll take that. Worked out. Got the same opponent again because he also drew. So we ended up playing the same again. This time on Lords of Battle.
Him or me, wasn't it?
Pardon?
It was either him or me, wasn't it? So
was it Lords of Battle? This one was, Lords of Battle. Yeah. So Lords of Battle, I've got like 30 odd models. He's got like 15. I was a bit like, there was a fair bit of terrain in the middle of the board as well, so I couldn't really get much shooting off. I deployed pretty much right on my back. I did a little like W with my bows here and here, so I could like.
Were you guys on the same table as well again?
No, different table. Okay. Curtis moved us around, so we were all on different tables.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of terrain, including some houses and stuff.
Were you on my board?
Pardon?
Were you playing on my scenery board?
Houses you could go into, I don't think so.
Okay, no,
like ruins and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but you could go inside and things like that. And basically, he came round all the back of the terrain to try and get to me. But while he was doing that, I moved away. He had made a slight error, and I'm pretty sure he realised it as well, in that he had left enough orcs back behind a building without the Witch King or the Barrow-wight or Birder to protect them.
Yeah.
And there was enough models there to break him.
Oh, okay.
So I only really noticed because I was moving out of the way for him to come and move his models around this side. So I went around to his side of the table, was like, oh, that's a lot of orcs.
Yeah.
Counted them up and was like, and the next turn he was standing there looking, and while I was moving, going, I think I've made a mistake, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I was like, I know what it is. So I ran over there, barred heroic combat for a couple of orcs. I think he whiffed the first one, but he got the second one.
Yeah.
So I got the break. He had more kills than me. I think I was 1 model off breaking in the end, which would have given him the win.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a draw. He did like a hurl with Birder through a bunch of the Lake Town guys.
Yeah.
and then they were all prone for the final turn of combat.
Yeah.
They all won the combats. He had them surrounded with orcs on the floor, prone.
Yeah.
And I was like, roll the dice. I was like, oh, I got a 4. Like, cool, master 6. Yeah, here we go. Did it again. 6. Here we go. Save the game.
Are these your broken 1 ring dice? Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to Lee about the Isengard dice.
Yeah, I know about them too.
Yeah, so just about pulled that out of the backside. But yeah, that's one of the things, just as a little top tip for people to remember. Don't leave half, like, make sure when you like count the numbers of the people in the different flanks. Because I've done that with Goblin Town, where I've counted it and gone, right, I've got 60 models. There's going to be 29 over here.
Yeah.
So I've got enough over here that if you kill all of these, you still have to come over here and fight me. Just because it kind of, whereas
that really comes from playing a lot and playing tournaments a lot and sort of just picking up all those little tricks and tips.
So I ended up game 4, 60 out of 80 possible points.
Yeah.
Which is, I was fairly happy with that. Felt fairly confident because that's like using this scoring system, that's the equivalent of winning all your games. 5-0?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it's like so it's like the equivalent of 4 solid wins by getting 2 massive wins and 2 draws. So yeah, one of the things I was trying to do for this year, especially start of the year, is try and be more defensive. I've had a problem with being Lee will happily tell anyone who talks to you, I get very excited and just want to kill things. So I often put myself out of position.
Overstretch yourself.
And risk models that I really shouldn't be risking. So I was trying not to give up.
2 for me, I did a bog.
Trying really hard not to give up VPs. And only gave up the points for him having more kills than me in the final game. Only VPs I gave up all tournament, so that was okay. Happy with that. How did your game 4 go?
I was playing against, can't remember his name. This is really horrible. I think his name was Will. Will. He was playing. He had Glorfindel and some knights and Rivendell foot guys on foot. I think his name was Will. And we just basically were playing a bit of a game of chicken to start with. I just stood at the back, had my 9 bow shots, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try and take out all the knights, or at least all their horses, so they don't get that bonus. I think you only had like about 17 models again. I was really scared of Glorfindel because I was just like, he's just going to come through and tear me a new one. So I just literally stood back and shot him for a while. Eventually he pushed forward again. I think it was just sort of, I was playing a bit gamey, to be honest with you, because I was just a bit scared. I went, I just took some shots, baited him in like round to one side with the knights and Glorfindel, and I just ignored the rest of his models. So like he only had 5 models out of his like 17, facing my whole army. I sprung my goblin mercs on him just to hold him up for a bit. Managed to kill all the knights. Glorfindel almost took out Fimbul, so I just ran him away. I didn't actually. He just whiffed all his combat, his killing rolls. So I just pulled Fimbul out and sent him into his troops that were slowly making their way back across. And in the end, I just managed to outkill him because he just couldn't kill me with shooting or anything. And in the end, I won. I'm not sure how much I won by, but I won, and we went right up to time.
Was it fairly tight?
Yeah, it was. But it was. No, I think all he had left was Glorfindel actually in the end. But yeah, it was just like, because obviously I had a lot more models than him.
Yeah.
It got like, a bit tighter, and obviously Goblin mercs die very easily. So, that's hemorrhaging points straight away. So I think I just outscored him on the things and broke him. So yeah, but I wasn't broken.
It brings up the interesting issue of the good versus evil tournament dynamic.
Yeah.
Because did he finish above you?
Yes, I think he
finished
fifth.
one place above you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was Will. You're right.
Yes. I've just got the list here, and I'm pretty sure it was Will. Yeah.
Because we had the top couple of places were good. So it ended up that like you were like second or third on the evil side, but you were playing above. Like, it's a bit, but it's fun. It's an 80. It's nothing too serious.
I think the
format made it really fun because we were giving it a bit of like, go on, throughout the tournament.
And also,
I don't know how many other people were, but we were.
When we know people on the other side, it's like, just like, give them a bit of banter and just like, give them a bit of shade. And then when all your mates are on your side as well, you're just disappointed in them that they didn't do well enough.
Yeah. So non-scoring scores, non like gaming scores. Best painted went to Sam Palmer, who had his the Amar army that I played twice. He's got some really cool like snowy icy bases and things. The army's like really beautifully themed. It's just really, really cool.
It's just a unique look, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. Most sporting went to some loser called Zahir. Not sure who he paid to get that.
I know. I don't know who I paid to get that because I was not expecting that at all. I'm like,
well, we had a really fun game.
Yeah, we did. But I think that was because I wasn't being my usual tournament self with you.
Yeah, it's like that's what we talked about earlier. We spent about an hour of the hour and a half kind of messing around a bit. There was a lovely pole situated right next to our table that I was having some fun on. And then it got to about half an hour left and I panicked because I realized that I needed to get to the middle of the objective. Please, thank you, bye. And it all got a bit serious the last 10 minutes or so. But I
don't think it ever got to the point where like, it would do with someone else. So I think we were just like sort of playing it a bit more like, we thought we've got to actually take the pace up a bit, but in a nice way rather than all right, get on with it now.
I think
which I know I've
at one point
done before.
We need to hurry this up now because I need to get over there.
But I think the thing is that like mutual respect meant it wasn't like I'm really annoyed with you now, so I'm going to take even longer. It was let's get this game out so it actually gets to a natural conclusion. And
we've been having a laugh and taking ages with the first few turns, so it was fine to speed up the last couple.
Definitely.
But third place went to George Downing. He brought just a dragon and a bat swarm to that event.
He was basically a ringer, wasn't he?
Yeah. We kind of looked at it, I went, how are you going to win the first couple? And I was terrified because I thought if you could win the first couple and you get out like Lords of Battle or Retrieval, you're pretty pooped. But it turns out he won the first couple just by like killing everything in sight. And then Retrieval, he didn't actually win because the opponent no fly. No, he played against Reese.
Oh, okay.
And he no fly zoned him across the whole table basically. So he could only kill a couple of models, and then Dragon just kept losing fights.
Yeah.
So he couldn't get in to retrieve the thing. I don't think he killed him I don't think he broke him in the end. He just kept like losing fights and not like. Yeah.
The thing is, that's the way it always goes, isn't it? It's like you either roll really well or you spend a whole game rolling badly. There is no redemption.
It's a bit like the Balrog, and why I'd be terrified of taking something like a Balrog to a tournament. Yeah, because you just know he's going to have that one or two turns of just actually I can't be bothered today, lads. Sorry. You guys take it from here.
Yeah.
Then I think Smash Lords of Battle. Second place went to me. Got second, got a lovely little trophy.
Nice.
The London Wargaming Guild trophy and some lovely London Wargaming Guild dice. Thank you, Curtis. That was very nice. And some some models, which I gave to you because you let me stay at your house. But I didn't. I gave to your girlfriend because your girlfriend let me stay at her house. But you know,
These beauties right here.
so those guys, yeah. What have you got them for? What have you got them for? They're Becky's. And first place went to Reese, didn't it? Reese?
Yeah.
Yeah, who had a Minas Tirith army, which was Hurin, a couple of knights, Fountain, Citadel Guard with Warriors of Minas Tirith in the front, Madriel, some Rangers, and Angborn chucked in.
Yeah.
So he had a fairly high model count. He had a lot of fight for. He had an awful lot of shooting, a couple of bits of speed, just a little bit of everything, really. Hurin and Madriel are great heroes at those points. Angborn gives you a huge range threat for 30 odd points. Really solid list. But yeah,
he only dropped 8 points the whole tournament.
Did he?
Ridiculous.
Absolutely insane. I think I spoke to him after game 3 and realised I pretty much couldn't catch him unless he got like 12 nils. I couldn't catch him, so I was like, that's fine. So yeah, that was can't believe it's not Bordeaux. I finished second.
I'm happy with my trip.
Here finished. Where did you finish? 6th or 5th?
6th. Well, okay, it's joint 5th, but we're both 6th apparently. I don't know how that works.
Well, according to GBHL standings, you are 6th.
I'm happy with that.
And he is 5th.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice. Feel free to grab yourself a cup of tea because we're about to dive back into a whole other tournament.
Yes. We now schedule your usual program with an ad break from Atomic Cards.
Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel while you're here. Make sure you ring the bell just aside for some notifications. If you'd like to support the channel anyway, that's the easiest way. That's for free. Otherwise, you can head on over to our website, atomiccards.co.uk. You can buy all of your Warhammer models from us. You can buy scenery. You can buy Lego. You can buy Pokemon cards. You can buy Magic the Gathering. You can buy Dungeons and Dragons stuff. You can buy all kinds of cool stuff. Come to our website, buy some stuff. Very shortly, come to the shop, buy some stuff in person. But we'll talk about that.
All of the cool stuff.
Yes, we'll talk about that more once we have definite thing for you, which should be soon. So that's going to be exciting. And then you can play with this Momo cup here. Ooh. I need to paint him properly. Look at his pale face. But yeah. So day 2, Sunday. Actual Bordeaux proper. So quick view on the tournament format for this one. It's 3 games. Just 3.
Yeah.
2 at 500 points. And for the 3rd game, you get an extra 200 points of reinforcements. So you're up to 700 points in that final game. So this is the one I said earlier. I was testing out my Spider Queen Goblin Town mix for 700. So 500 points of Goblin Town for the first 2 games. 200 points of Spider Queen, 2 Bat Swarms, and a Giant Spider. Now the Canyon amongst you at home would have worked out, but that's 205 points. I didn't tell my opponents to start, but I did play 495 points down for those first 2 games.
Wait, so you played with 5 points of models then?
What?
You said you played with 495 points down, so you played with 5
points.
Oh,
yeah, sorry, the other way. I played 5 points down. So yeah. And by my back, that one goblin.
Yeah, that one goblin did not feel a difference, did it?
That's why it felt really dirty. I didn't like it. Right. So I said earlier on the other video, I love even warbands. So I had the Goblin King, 16 goblins and Golem, Captain in 12, Grinner in 12, and the Goblin Mercenary in 9. And it really pained me to have 9 because it should be 10. But the 95, it's so painful. I hated it. I hated every fibre of my being.
You could have gone down -10 points and just taken 8 then.
And to be honest, probably wouldn't have swung anything.
No.
But yeah, we'll see. What was your list for Sunday?
So I took Bolg for 500 points, which I was actually quite scared of because I tried my 700 point and I was really happy with how it played. I was a bit worried about how. I mean, I still had 29 models, so I shouldn't complain. But 13 of them were goblins, so I had Bolg and 8 Gundalads with spear and shield, Thimble with 3 Wild Riders with Hunter Orcs and Fell Warg with bow, and 3 Fell Wargs, and then a Goblin Knight Captain with 12 goblins. Just chilling.
And what are you saying mean things about goblins for?
Because when you have a load of them, they're amazing. When you have 12 of them, they should be terrible. But this tournament says otherwise. Because they were invaluable to me. They literally held up a whole flank for both games against Uruks, which were 5 strength 4 with strength 3 bows. It was insane.
Let's dive into it, shall we?
Yeah.
Game 1, retrieval. We just spoke about retrieval.
I did exactly the same thing again.
So I was playing against Minas Tirith. This chap had Hurin, Ingold, and Iralas at 500 points. And then just an absolute ton of warriors. I think 6 rangers and a small 3 or 4 knights to go with Hurin. So Hurin's on horse. He deployed pretty much his entire army back at his home objective.
Yeah.
Because he was terrified of Goblin Mercs. He said he'd been out of the game for a few years and stuff. So I did say to him, like, the Goblin Mercs can deploy on any terrain piece. Your thing is on a terrain piece.
Yeah.
If you don't cover it, I'm just going to drop on there. I'm going to take it and I'm going to win. And he was like, cool. I'm going to deploy on there. I was like, yeah, cool. And then I was like, right, well, we're going to have an awkward standoff again, aren't we? Fortunately, again, probably a little bit of greenness from him. He brought Hurin and some knights out to try and kind of slip around the back because I deployed quite high up. Because I was going to go to him because it's game 1, send it, you know. But Hurin started to come around a flank. What I did was I marched backwards. To get behind a piece of terrain that he was trying to come round. So I was on this side with the Goblin King and Gollum and some captains. And on this side was Grinner and a little warband. So he tried to like wheel back round, seeing the Goblin King. Grinner caught him. I don't think he expected Grinner to be as good as he was. Grinner went in, struck up, killed the horse out from under Hurin.
Oh no. Did he not strike Grinner?
He didn't think Grinner was a threat.
Okay.
Because it was just Grinner on his own in combat with Hurin. So he's like, you're not going to kill Hurin, so I'll save his might. And I went, you're right, I'm not going to kill Hurin, but I'm going to kill that horse.
That's the thing.
I'd thrown a goblin. I'd misremembered it on the day because I think I texted like threw a goblin, killed Hurin's, knocked Hurin's horse off. It didn't. It killed the knight that was in front of Hurin. But it didn't kill the knight. It killed the knight's horse, and the knight killed itself from the thrown rider.
Oh no! That's just that's painful.
And that was when he got scared and ran back. Straight into Grinner, and then because he had priority, he went into Grinner, and then I moved up behind him.
Oh, so he even charged into Grinner?
Oh yeah, he charged into Grinner. Yeah.
So
yeah, I know it's a bit. You sure?
Yeah, that's just. I think that's just an experience, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. And then the next turn, I managed to Goblin King Gollum, heroic combat into Hurin. Hurin died. And it was at that point that he'd start to move his guys down. But then he started marching his guys down with Iralas. And after the game, he was very like, I should have called that march earlier. I was like, absolutely. Yes, you should. I deployed my mercenaries in this one. So I deployed them along the front line. Because he's only strength 3. And having used Minister of a fair bit, I know how one of the things they struggle with is actually killing stuff.
Yes.
So I've now got a defense 4 front line, so they still need 5s to win me. I'm going to piercing strike with all of them, probably. So it's fine, but I didn't with all the mercenaries. So half my line was piercing striking and wounding him on 5s. What I had done though was push 2 guys out to the side with the king and Gollum and Gridder and everyone. But they kind of heroic combated back across.
Yeah.
So I think I used all 3 of the king's might to heroic combat.
Yeah.
And he moved about 15, 20 inches in 2 turns. He was just like bam, 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 bam across the middle line.
Yeah.
I was 1 model from breaking him at the end.
Yeah.
And this is one of those moments where I was a bit like, I called a heroic combat with the king in the last turn because Ingold had done a heroic combat too, and he'd gone round the back of the terrain. So he was like 4 inches from my home terrain thing.
Oh, okay.
But he was at a might.
Yeah.
The king heroic combated and got within 6 of it and had a captain with might nearby to call a move.
Yeah.
So I could get to it, but then they called like finish the turn you're on.
Yeah.
We thought we still had a turn for another turn and we'd already talked about it. Whereas if we didn't have time, I'd have gone back into combat and killed another ball to break him. Because the king would have done that. Yeah. So it's just one of those things. So I think I ended up winning 2-0 because I killed his leader. There was no one broken, no one touched anyone's relics.
Yeah.
It was pretty stalematey, other than that Hurrian kind of overreach.
Yeah.
But I did just kind of throw resources at killing him when I could.
Yeah.
How did your game 1 go?
So I was playing against a pure Isengard list, but it was basically Lurtz's scouts. So he only had 1 warband that can move 8 inches. The rest of them were just normal bog standard heroics. Because basically in the 700 he wanted to take a Isengard troll. So I don't know whether he could have asked the TO if I can take the Isengard Lurtz's scouts at 500 and then escalate. I'm guessing he either asked and he couldn't, or he just didn't ask. But that I think just scuppered him a bit to start with, because if he'd had across the board 8-inch move with a drum, he had a drum, and if he'd marched them up, I would have been stuffed. He didn't, so I just deployed straight up on the middle. I was like, I'm just going to have to go hell for leather here. And my 3 Hunter Orcs stood back on the objective, and their shooting was ridiculous. I just killed everything that came past my initial line. Bolg just went in and smashed face. I think I killed Lurtz in 1 turn of combat. And it was horrible. And then I sprung my mercs on. He had about 4 guys defending it. Just took him out. Thimble got the relic and almost ran off. I think 1 more turn and I would have won 12-2, but I ended up winning 10-2, which was good enough.
Yeah. So interesting kind of reversal of fortune. This one, I kind of floated around the middle somewhere. Whereas you shot right up near the top somewhere. Game 2 was Clash by Moonlight. Goblin sitting there going, "Ooh, thank the Lord for my recent FAQ." Because I
and
don't
you just
get a
shouted
+1
it across at me, and I was like, "You've just saved me."
Don't get the +1 to wound because we can see the dark. GG. I was playing against Hobbits, the Tom Parry's Hobbits we talked about earlier. So to change the list between the days, he's literally just added in a load more Dunedain. So he now had Halbrand as his leader, Paladin, the full warband of Turkish hunters with bows, the 2 sheriff leaders, full warband of sheriffs, and then 4 or 5 Dunedain.
Nice.
Clash by Moonlight, all about killing leaders, heroes. And I looked at that and went, you have got a lot of soft, squishy heroes. we kind of spread out in two big long lines because we were playing on like a planet bowling ball, to be honest. There wasn't much in the way of terrain.
Well, you were playing on Tatooine, weren't you?
Yeah, it's like a Tatooine board with like small houses that the Goblin King
that
was the same size as.
The board I played on game 1.
Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of it, to be honest.
No, I think it was the only really un-Lord of the Ringsy board.
Yeah,
like completely wrong.
Well, there was enough terrain to kind of break his lineup into 3 sections. So he had a very clear middle, left, and right. And I think he done what you said he did in your game, where he put the bows in the middle, and then sheriffs on either flank.
Yeah.
So what I did was came straight down the middle, but as I got towards him, I put a couple of goblins from here into that flank, but the rest of it came back across to the middle.
Yeah.
So I doubled up the middle.
Yeah.
I put the king and Gollum over on the left, doubled up the middle, and then left a few guys holding the right, because he's holding. So he only moves 4 inches, right? So I was thinking, this is going to be okay. I put my mercenaries at the front again as I was coming towards him, so that the throw stones didn't hurt too much. I still lost like 15 goblins to range attacks. It was brutal. So he had 2 full turns of bows, plus 2 turns of throw stones, I think. So I lost like 15 dudes.
So I was quite lucky in that I was hidden behind terrain in my game, so I managed to mitigate quite a bit of shooting.
And basically, I slipped Gollum through the lines with a ring into Halbrad. I used the king to barge the 2 hobbits out of the way. They had in front of Halbrad, into Halbrad, dropped Halbrad turn 1 of combat. There goes his banner and his leader, like straight away.
Yeah.
So the banner doesn't give VPs or anything, but it means that now most of the fights, because I've got my Chittering Horde, it's kind of 2-on-1 in every single fight. And he's not got his banner. It means he actually beat me on fight though, because he's fighting 3 and I'm fight 2, which was painful. But I had kind of captains piercing striking up to strength 5 to win him on 3s and stuff, which was quite fun.
Yeah.
And then the Goblin King and Gollum just ran around doing heroic combats from hero to hero.
Yeah.
And just breaking them that way. We were both broken. But I'd killed almost all of his heroes by the end of the game.
Yeah.
I lost 3 of mine to break tests, as is the Goblin Town way.
Yeah.
But we'd managed to break him just before the end. So it ended up in a fairly comfortable win, but not by much. Because I got more leader kills and his leader, and he was broken. So I think it was 8-5.
Okay.
No, 8-2, something like that. 8-2. Because more kills, more leader kills than him. His leader kill, and he was broken to 8, and he had just broken me and had heroes alive. 8-2. Yeah. So it's a decent win, but nothing spectacular. How did your game go?
I was playing Sam, who is the ringer, because it was his tournament. And I was playing Ugluck Scouts. So I was playing Isengard again, which is outfighting me across the board, strength 4, so killing me on 4s most of the time. He did have some orcs as well, obviously, which gave him the animosity, which meant he was killing me even quicker. However, what I did was I just deployed my Goblin Merc straight away. I was like, I need my numbers. He had a lot of models. We were playing on this really there was loads of rock terrain everywhere. So it was really breaking up the pockets of where you could get in, and I could just barricade bits and hold them. I just was I need to put my Goblin Mercs on straight away. And they were put on my left flank and they did not die at all. He had his animosity on that side and he just could not kill them. which is ridiculous. He had Malha, some Uruks, some Orcs, Grishnak, and my 12 Goblin Mercs held on for long enough to just hold that line. It was quite a boring game, actually, to be honest with you. I had my Gundalads on like in an L-shaped formation on the right flank, which again were just holding the line. And yeah, I just sort of, it was just a bit of a stalemate. And then there was like this tiny little gap between two pillars in the middle, and he sent Ugluck down to try and get to my, just break through. I had two Gundalads there just holding it up. He killed one. I had Thimble and Bolg hidden behind the pillar, so I called a heroic move one turn, pulled with Thimble, pulled out the Gundalads, so Thimble didn't have to move at all, just sent Bolg in, and this was on the what turned out to be the last turn. Just struck up. He'd used all his might. No, we both struck up. I think it was his last point of might, and I just went, "Thank you very much." Smash, leader kill, killed more heroes, so I won 5-0. But it was a very sort of stalemate, boring game that ended up just winning in the last turn.
And then testament to how our two kind of events had gone that, like, the event had gone that far. I ended up playing Sam in the next round. So I've gained my 200 points of reinforcements, got a Spider Queen, got 2 bats, got my giant spider. He just added in more Orcs and Uruks and stuff.
Yeah.
Final scenario was Contest of Champions.
Yeah.
I quite like this as Goblin Town. I've got lots of soft models, but I also had the King as my leader. He had Ugluck as his leader, so already I was like, cool. Ugluck's not a very good leader. I can deal with Ugluck. But what he did, was quite a few, like, he's got quite a few heroes who can just munch through me. I deployed my standard Goblin Towny way, which is to put all of the warriors in front of my King and Golem and Grinner and everyone good. And just let him have a turn of like munching into my lads if he wants to, and then we'll sort it out afterwards. I put the Spider Queen and the bats on a flank with my Goblin mercenaries, and kind of intended to wrap around the back with them.
Yeah.
Because there was like woods all around the middle, so he couldn't really move much. That he could see a wooden creature, but I was kind of like stuck in this little arena of death in the middle.
Yeah.
First turn, he gets priority, comes forward, charges lots of dudes. He's left Ugluck with his backside open, and all the other heroes over here, and Ugluck was here.
Yeah.
And there was just a wall of dudes between them. So I went, cool, I'm going to put a ring on. I'm going to slip through your lines into the back of Ugluck. Goblin King's going to come and crush his own troops, which is the thing he can do, to be in combat with Ugluck. If you heroic strike, there is nothing you can do. You're dead. So turn 1, Ugluck trapped. He didn't end up being trapped because he did the fights in the right order or something, back the way. So he was basically just like hoping that I failed to roll well. But Ugluck's only defense 5 as well.
He is.
So the King's winning on 3s.
That's the thing, I was winning on 3s, so it was just so
and
juicy.
you get might back if you kill a hero on that one. So I used the King's might to make sure that I killed him, got that leader kill, put the might back onto the King. From that, and at that point it was essentially GG, because there's not an awful lot you could do about it. We played our next couple of turns. He spent ages on that first turn trying to work out how to undo what he'd done, and he couldn't get through. But it was a genuine. I kind of did my move and then sat down for 10 minutes while he looked at it and was like, "Can I do any heroic combat?" So I was like, "No, I can't." There's nothing you can do here. Like the Spider Queen was just sat with all his other heroes, so he had to come around her. I'd marched my mercenaries, trying to get round the back. He'd shot off that march, so that failed. But swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically. So played the last couple of turns out. The king racked up to like 7 kills pretty quickly. At that point, he'd killed 4. I'd killed more of my models than he'd killed of mine from the Goblin King crushing him at the start. And it was very much like, cool, let's go home. I dropped all his heroes with Spider Queen as well. She was just having a great time on that flank because he's got Ugluk and Grishnak with strike in that list.
Yeah.
Everything else is fight 4 or 5. So I killed Ugluk turn 1. Grishnak was still alive, to be fair, but the Spider Queen killed Malher and an Uruk Captain.
Yeah.
I can't remember where Schnagger was, but he was pretty close to death somewhere. And it was just like, this is done, mate. So it became a 12-0 very quickly.
Yeah.
It was quite nice. I had a nice like hour-long wait at the end.
Yeah.
But that was cool. We chilled out in the shop, had a drink, had a chat to other guys as they finished their games.
Yeah.
How did your game 3 go?
Well, you see, whereas I was playing right up until, can you guys stop playing now? Everyone else is done. You guys need to stop. So I was playing against Archie, who is a very good player and a good friend of mine who I play a lot. And it was just this whole thing of you're playing against a really good mate. Even when we play just casually, we always give it our all and really try and sort of, push each other. But it was like, I couldn't play gamey. I couldn't be like, my usual self. But I think we both really tried hard. Turn 1, I had Bolg right in the middle, sent him into 2. He deployed him really well, so I couldn't get too many like models first turn. So I could only get to charge into 2 with Bolg's Limo Warg gone.
What armies are you using?
Oh, he was using Moria, but he was taking Ashrak, Groblog, Durbers, and a Goblin Captain, I think. He had 3 or 4 spiders, 3 Warg Marauders, some Prowlers, and then just normal Goblins, a drum as well. So it was quite a small army for Moria at 700, but everything hit hard. It was like, it was munching through my troops, and my Goblin Mercs did not stand a chance on the right flank. Sent Bolg in first turn, killed 2, heroic combated into another 2. So I was 4-0 up after the first round of combat. I think I killed about 12 or 13 models in the first turn. And then I killed like about another 6 for the rest of the game. My rolling just completely abandoned me, and his goblins just like completely destroyed me for the rest of the game. I managed to just like position my models in a way that his bats couldn't get in on Bolg until the last turn. I was stuck in like a stalemate with I want to say Groblog. He's the one with the Mithril Crown, isn't he?
Mithril Crown, right? Defense.
Yeah. So he just heroic defense. And yeah, I just couldn't do anything with that. I kept trying to like anti-cav him with my cav. Of course, his Warg Marauders caused terror with my Courage 1 Hunter Orc, Gromfell Warg. Thimble whiffed his courage test multiple times.
From the drum courage 1, yeah.
Yeah. So he basically ended the game with 3 might. Hadn't used him at all. It was just a bloodbath, to be honest, in the middle. Last turn he did 2 wounds on Bolg, but the scenario is your leader has to do the wounds. So it ended up being I think it was like an 8-3 win or 8-5 win. So it was very close in the end. It was a really, really tight game. I think I only doubled how many I killed of his. And then I'd broken him, he broke me. I think that was it. So yeah, it was good. But it was a really tough game, that one, unlike yours.
Yeah, I'd said in our chat, because we've got a little little Atomic Cards group chat,
Yeah.
I said after games 1 and 2, but all I really wanted from game 3 was like I had to just smash it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there was no way I was getting up there. But I was kind of happy with the fact that I was somewhere lower down. So in theory, it's a it should be a softer game.
Yeah.
And it kind of was, which was quite nice. There was some of the list up at the top, but I was looking at and going, "Oh, I don't really fancy that."
Yeah, we're talking about you, Bert, with his 2 ballistas and 10 crossbows, or how many of the crossbows you have now.
I'll take that on on Contest of Champions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Depends what happens, but yeah, you've got to win that heroic move roll off at the start.
Yeah,
but yeah. No, so it was good again all round. I actually ended up. We all 3 of us, me, you, and Bert, tied at the top of the table.
Yeah.
On tournament points in the end. So it came into like your actual VPs throughout the day.
Yep.
We
drew that as well, didn't we? The VP scored.
Was it VP scored we drew, and then it was VPs conceded that I edged you out on by like 2 VPs conceded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were both on 20, weren't we?
Yeah, super tight. Because what did I only conceded that breaking in the Hobbit game, and that's the only thing I conceded all tournament again. So that was quite nice. So I finished second, you finished third, and Bert finished first with his Assault on Helm's Deep Legion, which just got more assaultier as the day went on. Double ballistas, 10 crossbows, was it?
Yeah, I mean, I know it was 10 crossbows at 500. I don't know if you put any more in at 7.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
It's just yucky.
Insane.
Basically. But yeah, no, lovely event. Interesting fact, I deployed the mercenaries in all 3 of my games.
Did you?
Yeah. I
guess
don't know.
It gives you that extra defense for your front line, doesn't it? So
it's something I've been toying with as an idea, and wanted to try out. So I did. I also don't know if that's testament to the terrain on the day.
Yeah.
Because there was the second scenario. Well, the first game, retrieval, was perfectly set up for me to just go, yoink, that's mine. Whichever corner we deployed in, there was a piece of terrain that was going to have the relic in.
Yeah.
So, that would have gone very well if you hadn't covered it. I could have left them off the table and then waited for him to, like, he would never have moved. So I put them on a table so he would at least come to me and open up some space. The second game, I just couldn't put them anywhere. There was no way for me to put them there. And I put them at the front so that the bows would hit them. Not the bows, the stones.
Yeah, because I think
I didn't want the bows to hit them because the bows are straight to 2.
Yeah, because I think game 2 and 3 were both like you deploy pretty much on top of each other, is it? So you sort of
no. Game 2 is a 24-inch no man lands.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's that. Whereas game 3, you're right on top of each other.
So you don't really want that ambushing because you're just miles away from any action, aren't you?
Well, I did toy with it because we were like surrounded by woods.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I can just drop them in behind him if he tries to run away.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what, I could get the same effect by putting them on the table and marching round.
Yeah.
In the end, he charged for captain, shot to march, but then I heroic combat instead.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah. It worked out quite well, to be fair. So, yeah, something I'm going to look at more.
2 seconds for you.
2 seconds over the weekend, yeah. The most important stat in the world, though, is obviously the one which is the GBHL rankings currently.
Oh, yeah.
National rankings for 2022 thus far.
Is this the part where you put it up on screen in glory?
I absolutely am, yeah.
Oh, yes. Because guess who's top? It'll be on the internet forever for me to glory at, because it will never happen again.
So at the top, right there, Mr. Zahir cares. Second place is Tom. That's me. Third is Archie. We're just chatting about. You can ignore the fact here where it says that we've all played in 3 tournaments and everyone else has played in 2. That's irrelevant.
We're still the best.
We're still the best. It's all right. So thanks for spending your evening hanging out with the 2 best players in the UK.
In February. 2 months into the year.
Give it a couple of weeks and we will not be there anymore. But we are there now.
Need to go on.
So it's okay. To be fair, I'm actually only like 50 points behind what I scored last year.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, good start to the year. You can also see like Scott and Lee and everyone are up here as well. I mean, to be fair, we've had lots of events in the south, but yeah, it's just great to see our like local crew doing well.
Definitely.
Yeah, and your London crew are getting through. Yeah, cool.
Reese up there and Archie.
Yeah, shame about Curtis, but because he wanted to go watch Leeds lose to Man United instead. So, you know, and because he was running one of the events. But then, to be fair,
he'll be there later in the year. He's proved himself at that 550 points value, which is good.
Yeah, that'll be good. For us, our next event is going to be the doubles in Cardiff next month.
Yeah,
and we are playing together.
Oh yeah,
power couple.
Ebony and Ivory.
Chocolate and vanilla swirl.
Oh yeah. So the best part is we'll both just be bringing each other up or bringing us down.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a hot, chaotic mess, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to the doubles, feel free to say hi, but obviously not while we're in the middle of a game because that's really irritating. Just come see us between games, have a chat. We'd love to hang out. And then I'm going down to a GBHL 80 in Oxford on the Sunday. Which I'm going to as well on 550 points.
Yeah.
So probably one of the towns, we'll see.
Nice.
But that'll be my
Lake Town. I can see you doing really well with Lake Town at that point.
Yeah, we'll see what the vibe is. It means buying another box of Lake Town models, and that's painful because they're very, very expensive.
Yes, they are.
But probably gonna happen.
Yeah. Let's be honest here.
Let's be honest. They were quite fun.
It's the plastic crack, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. But that's it then. That'll be pretty much like my batch of events for the start of the year. I wanted to smash out a load because I don't know how many more I'm going to get to go to as things are going to start to get quite busy later on. So thanks for being around with us tonight. As we said earlier, don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell, head over to the website, find us on Facebook, Instagram, Zahir Cares Designs for all your terrain needs. He'll do some commissions if you want him to. Be like, oi, Zahir, I want you to make me this exact scene from the movie. And he'll go,
I will happily do it.
Yes, I will do it. It'll be cheaper than you can find it anywhere else. It'll be better than you can find it anywhere else. I'm a professional set designer by trade. I am incredible, talented, amazing, and just the best player in the world right now as well. And that's
the most sporting and humble too.
He's incredibly humble. Right. So
let's stop now.